Good afternoon everyone, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Robyn and I make videos all about gardening, flower farming and connecting to nature. I live here on the south coast of New South Wales and we have been creating this garden for about just over 6 months now. It's looking so beautiful and every day I just come out here and find so much joy in the garden. So I love sharing it online on these YouTube videos. Today's video is going to be similar to a lot of my other ones. I'm just going to take you around the garden with me and I'm going to share just a few things that I'm getting up to this afternoon. This afternoon I am going to be taking some cuttings from some lavender and hydrangea plants and hopefully they will root and I will have some more free plants for the garden. But before we get into that, I will overlay some footage here of what I got up to during the week. I ended up ordering some more David Austin roses. I have really been heavily influenced by a few people here on YouTube and Instagram to purchase some more roses, and so I did. I purchased these ones from Silky's Rose Farm, I think it was called, and they came bare rooted in the mail. They came super quick and I was really happy with them for the price that I paid. I've been kind of recommended to go with a lot of David Austin varieties. They have a lot of research that is put into them in terms of their growing conditions, how healthy the plants are, and obviously the blooms. So all of that work and years of genetic testing goes into producing roses. So I've been recommended to go with these as kind of a starting rose. They are a garden rose, so they're not kind of designed for cutting, although you can use them for cut flowers and maybe I will do some in some arranging. But yeah, I was really happy with them. They came in the mail, I opened them up and I put them straight into some seaweed solution. This is recommended when you get your bare root roses, and it came with a little sachet of some solution, so I just put that into water, stirred it around and popped the roses straight into that to rehydrate them. They did come wrapped in newspaper, which was still moist and had, I think, a little bit of coconut coir in them. So they were looking really healthy, but adding them into the solution as soon as you receive them from the mail just makes sure that they're hydrated and that they don't dry out. So I went with 2 different varieties. I went with Jubilee, Celebration and Litchfield Angel. I think that's how you pronounce it. So gorgeous colors because I already have an apricot one. I have Grace. And I think these 2 are going to be a wonderful addition to the garden behind me, which I'm hoping to be a cottage style garden with a lot of perennials. In terms of positioning them, I have planted them in a relatively full sun position. That's what roses prefer. So I planted one closer up to where the pathway starts and then one kind of down at the middle of the path to kind of catch your eye as you walk down. And I think they are going to look absolutely stunning. I'm so excited to see what the blooms look like. Hopefully this year, I'm sure we'll get some blooms. But to plant them, I just made sure that the soil was relatively broken up and well draining. We do have clay soils here. I do have a lot of mushroom compost on top that I've kind of mixed in with the clay into those areas, and I also added just a little bit more compost into the hole just to make sure that the plant has enough food. And then once I had planted both of those, I watered them with the rest of the seaweed solution. Sorry, there's a lot of birds around me today. Spring is quickly approaching. Well, actually, one thing else that I did was I trimmed them a little bit. They did recommend to trim them by 1/3 when you plant them in the ground. They were quite small, so I was a little bit conservative on my trimming of the roses, but gave them a little bit of a snip. And yeah, I will keep up a regular fortnightly also feeding with them, either with some worm tea or seaweed solution. We'll see how I go. But yeah, I am super excited for these roses to add to this beautiful garden here behind me. Okay, I'm gonna go and fill up a few pots and then grab my snips and we will take some cuttings of hydrangeas and lavenders because I would love some more of these around the garden. Right, I've just filled up these 2 pots here with some potting mix and compost. This is just really light and fluffy potting mix, which is perfect for taking cuttings. You can also root cuttings in like Pretty sure you can root cuttings in some sand, seed raising mix, anything that is just really light, fluffy and well draining. And if you are after soil to be a bit more free draining, you can also add vermiculite or sand into it to create a mixture that is really great for cuttings. So I think I'm going to go and snip some of the hydrangea first and then grab some lavender cuttings, and I will show you how I do both of those. I thought I would do a little bit of a voiceover for this section just because it ended up being super windy. This here is the hydrangea plant that I have, and this is a screenshot from another video when I pruned it back. It was absolutely massive and it has gorgeous blue flowers. Because we have really acidic soil, the flowers tend to be more on the blue side rather than the purple side if you have more alkaline soil. When I'm taking cuttings of hydrangeas, I want to just be looking for really healthy stems, and this plant does have a long way to go. It wasn't completely healthy. I did have to trim it back quite a lot, but you can see here I am snipping a cutting from this section here. It's a healthy cutting and I'm trimming just below one of the leaf nodes. I'm then trimming the leaves off that bottom section, and this is where majority of the roots are going to form when we put these cuttings in soil. So that's what you want to be making sure that you're getting at least one or two of the leaf nodes, those bottom little sections, on your cuttings when you take them. I'm just making sure that I'm using a pair of sharp secateurs or snips because you want to have a nice clean cut with your cuttings. They don't have to be too long. Mine are probably maybe about 20 centimeters or so. The main thing I want to be looking is just that there's no disease on the stems. For lavender, similar kind of story. I'm taking softwood cuttings of these. You can take hardwood cuttings. These are from the green shoots of the lavender. So you can see there's a woody stem coming out from the bottom. And then I'm snipping off these lighter green stems here. And then just stripping the leaves off the bottom, and again the roots will form along these leaf nodes where the leaves were taken off. And again, you just want to make sure that you're getting a nice, healthy, strong cutting without any disease on it. This is me just putting the hydrangea cuttings into that potting soil, just making sure to have it really securely within the pot. And you can see those leaf nodes there. Those are the ones where the roots are going to hopefully form. They might not form on all of them. That's okay. I mean, I still have this gorgeous hydrangea plant. It would just be nice to have a few more around the garden. And I'm just making sure I'm spacing these apart so that they're not directly touching to allow the roots to form out and to uptake nutrients. And I'm just snipping off some of the leaves. You do want to make sure that you leave just a few on there for the plant to be able to photosynthesize, but they don't need to be covered in leaves because we want to be putting all of the energy into the root system and having the plant grow some roots. For this lavender, I'm just snipping off the top because the top can sometimes have the flower coming out. It's perfectly fine to take cuttings from the plant if it is flowering. You just want to make sure that you kind of remove the flower just so the plant is putting its energy into creating the roots. And again, I am making sure that these cuttings are stripped down the bottom. This will make sure that the roots can develop and the plant can actually form what it needs to. And I'm just adjusting some of these cuttings to make sure that they're around the same height and then popping them into the soil. You want to make sure that these are in a protected area and to be kept moist as well, but not sopping wet. And one way you can do that is just by putting a plate or something below the pot just to make sure the soil can uptake the water as it needs. Alright, that is it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed. Make sure to give this video a like if you did enjoy it. It really does mean a lot to any content creator that you watch if you interact by either liking or commenting. It's really great for us to get on the YouTube algorithm and also just hear feedback about what videos you like to see. I have my cuttings here. I have watered them in nicely so they are all good to go. We'll see if any of them work or not. I'll do an update on the progress of how they go, but I'm going to head inside. I think maybe tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon I'm going to film like a mid-month garden tour because so much is changing, but that garden tour will be up over on my Patreon page, and I will do a kind of later garden tour for YouTube towards the end of the month. So if you're interested in more videos, then make sure to head over to my Patreon page. I really want to start being a little bit more active over there and create content over there for a smaller group of people. But thank you so much to those who are already following over there. Your support really does mean the world to me, and thank you so much for watching here on YouTube as well. I hope you're all having a lovely day wherever you are in the world. I'll finish this video off with a few little clips of a few things that are happening in the garden, but if you want to see the full video, make sure to head over to the Patreon page. Thanks so much for watching, and until my next one, happy gardening everyone. Bye.